For there is one more thing that we need to do, and one way that we can do it very badly indeed. We are here now. The reactor hall. We've almost done it. Quick, into the reactor room. My mistake, I think actually this is where we need to go. We've been here before, and this is the reactor room. Let's go inside, shall we? We've succeeded in getting this far. Now let's try to bring the seed to the reactor. I'm really anxious to see what will happen. Unfortunately, someone we've seen before is here to stop us. Forget it. The show's over, Driscoll. Put your weapons down. Ah, it's the Colonel here, and he's going to try and stop us. We have a dialogue here. Colonel Priver, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, Driscoll. Put the weapon down and lie flat on the ground. We have two options here. One of them will lead to a chance of us to diplomatically deal with the situation. This, however, is what happens if you decide not to. Do you think we would let you stop us? Okay, if you want to do it the hard way, attack, men! This is actually a really difficult fight in theory. It is a fight with 15 Seku 2. And we don't want to be doing this. There is a way to do this without any combat whatsoever. But I thought it was worth showing that you can have one final fight before the end of the game. We're not going to do that, however. We're going to load up and we're going to show how it's done without any combat whatsoever. Let us let history repeat itself by heading back over to the reactor room, and this time we're going to do things peacefully. We are indeed really anxious to see what will happen. We're going to find out what will happen too. Forget it. The show's over, Driscoll. Put your weapons down. Here we come to solve everything. Colonel Priver, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, Driscoll. Put the weapon down and lie flat on the ground. Let's stay calm for a moment, Priver. By all means, stay calm, Driscoll, and nothing will happen to you. There are various options here. This one is the one we're probably going to do. Did you see the documentary about this world on the video screens? Do you believe we'd let ourselves be influenced by your ridiculous propaganda film, Driscoll? Would you be so good as to look at my companions? Do they look as if they come from this ship? What other proof do you need? The recordings are real. That's what the world we're destroying looks like. What should I care about that film you've brought with you? It won't make us ignore our orders. The documentary has been seen everywhere on board. Some probably don't believe it. Some probably don't care. However, you know the personality profiles of the crew. Most of them are not ready to destroy a life-filled world, aside from the fact that the crew was deceived by the company just as you are and your men were. That is quite a good option. We're going to be going with that one. One of the Colonel Priver's men interjects, "With all due respect, sir, he's not wrong." Nonsense. Don't let yourself be influenced by all this chatter. The other people in his team certainly are, though. Think about all the creatures you had to fight during the mining. How could there be such beings on a planet which supposedly has no life? You and your people are being fooled by the company. Unrest spreads among Priver's people. Voices agreeing with Tom's argument are raised. I've never given in to talk, Driscoll. Please, Priver, forget for a moment that we can't stand each other personally and think about the situation. The truth about this world can't be suppressed forever. It's just a desperate act of the company which has risked bankruptcy with this ship. We have the motivation to save the world from destruction. What motivation do you have now? Priver's people are now openly calling for agreement. Tom has convinced most of them. It looks as if you've won, Driscoll. An awful situation. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen now. Men, you're saying that the troublemaker is right? Just bear in mind that we must all face the consequences together, whatever they may be. Withdraw! And so they leave. Colonel Priver and his men leave the room. For in the end, we don't want to be killing people that we know and people that are most likely our friends. And we want to avoid all loss of life where we can. Man, I'm happy that we didn't have to fight this time. I knew some of those guys personally. Okay, to the reactor room. And off they go! For the final cutscene of the game. We'll open the door and be presented with the final boss. Ned. Oh yes, he's back. Just as the companions think they've made it, they see a jet black cylinder standing in front of the reactor core. Only a red control light and a device that seems to have been hastily added to one side interrupt the polished surface. That's the actual housing of the AI. Correct. After Colonel Priver and his men violated their employment contracts, I see that I am forced to prevent further malicious destruction of private property myself. This barrel is supposed to be a danger to us? I can't believe that. Oh, you're about to find out how dangerous Ned can be. I don't know. That thing on the side of a cylinder looks like a high-powered laser to me. The AI attacks. This is the final boss of the game. A cylinder with a laser strapped to its side. We're going to have a look at it right now. It is indeed a very crude attachment, the laser, but it is exceptionally powerful. In theory, you can defeat this fight if you have Thunag with you, be the most effective way. You can Thorn Snare the AI, and then you can start using the Dji Cantos Stone for 1 damage, and Steel Life for 49 damage. Various spells will deal maybe 1 point of damage. The AI has 4,500 health. You are not meant to win this fight whatsoever. What you're actually meant to do is fight it for a few rounds and watch as it starts to absolutely decimate you. Let's see what we can do, eh? We might as well try and put up a fight. This is, after all, the final fight in the game. Let's go. And immediately, Tom gets zapped and knocked unconscious, which is a bad sign indeed. Joe is now the leader, and all of our attacks do absolutely nothing, and a fireball deals 1 single point of damage. Nothing we do here is going to work whatsoever. And now Harriet is gone too, and the combat is over. In despair, Tom throws the glowing seed towards the reactor core. Even though he's unconscious, he's not really out of the fight, so to speak, so in desperation, he throws the seed in and hopes that something good happens. Let's find out, shall we? The seed becomes the center of a shining light. It's time for a cutscene. A trembling passes through the enormous structure of the Toronto. At first inaudible, the metal vibrates louder and louder, while pale sparkling lights crawl over the hull. Suddenly, shoots and blossoms in uncountable colours break through the metal. The steel screeches as it is torn apart and distorted by the force of the plants. Here is your cutscene about what the seed is doing to the Toronto. The destruction is pretty absolute. Or is it destruction? Who can say? That is a lot of power, though. A lot of power indeed. I think it's safe to say that the Toronto is not functional anymore. Yep, definitely safe to say that. But what is the outcome? Even those crew members who are not convinced by the documentation flee frightfully from the ship. When they emerge into the open, the Toronto presents an unbelievable sight. That is something full of life, as opposed to a metal machine that will destroy Albion. I think the seed has worked. The effect of the seed is simpler than its creators believed, and yet stronger than anyone had held possible. Within minutes, the giant installation of the Toronto has been destroyed. Destroyed? Or recreated? The gigantic manifestation of terrestrial technology is replaced by an oasis in the middle of the desert. This one time, the irrational and magical have prevailed against the power of calculating reason. We have won. And the AI is gone. Look at that. Everything is overgrown with plants. Yes, the metal colossus is dead. And Harriet and Tom are brought back with 1 hit point for the final cutscene. No, it is alive now. The energy is gone. The AI is gone. I still can't believe we survived. Let's try to get out of here. I wonder what the Toronto looks like from the outside. It won't be hard. There are a lot of holes in it now. And they marvel at what they've achieved. Wow! The seed took its job quite literally. What a sight! Ha! That's what I call magic. Fantastic! I can tell you, that alone was worth the danger. It's beautiful. What an irony. Without the ship's immeasurable energy, such a feat would not have been possible. The wound in Anim Ebena's side has been closed. The pain is gone. The great adventure is over, friends. Now we must get back to everyday business. Over there are a number of men and women, including one I care about a lot, to whom I have to explain that this world is now their new home, and their only future. Let's go. And with that, the game is over. The end. And what an end it is, folks. What an end it is. And now that is it. Without fanfare, the game goes back to the main menu, and it is over. It's time for the credits, which are rather subdued compared to other games of the time, and all games in general. There's no music whatsoever, just a roll of the people that were involved in Albion's creation, and I have to say, you all did an absolutely fantastic job. Albion is one of my favourite role-playing games, and has stuck with me since I first played it, way back in the past. I mean, nearly 2 decades ago I first played this game, and it's still a part of me even now, and in my memories of role-playing games, and what I come to expect from really great games. It has a fantastically vibrant and in-depth world, and the combat system, although it has its flaws, there are definitely flaws in the game, it's just all-round brilliant to experience, and I encourage anybody who likes these kind of games to give Albion a chance, even if you've watched this from start to end. There are things you can do that I didn't. You could keep Thunag, and you could take Siobhan with you as well, and Joe, and not take Syrah and Melthus. You could try that. You could have Tom as a primarily ranged combatant. You could have Drer as a ranged combatant if you like. There are just so many different ways that you can do things, and the world is just so rich in lore and background that it's just not the same watching it. Playing it gets you drawn in all the more, and I have to thank everybody whose name is coming up here. And the credits ended as abruptly as they began, so I will continue what I was saying here. All the people that were involved in the creation of Albion, in my opinion, should be proud of what they've made here, because this is a game for me that has stood the test of time after all these years and will continue to stand the test of time long into the future. I loved playing this game when it first came out, even though I have to say I never completed it when I first got it. I got to a certain point and then I stopped playing. I think I hit the wall of Animal 3s and never got much further than that. I think it was Camulon where I got stuck the first time I played all those years ago, but when I played it a lot later, when I was older, I could get through that point and see that Camulon went on forever, but that there was brilliant stuff even beyond Camulon. The game isn't perfect. No video game is. I mean, Camulon is way too long and just drags out the length of the game. I feel that was maybe one of the reasons why there were so many levels to it, but the whole fact that it was in a massive mountain gave it justification, but that was definitely a pacing issue. And there are some intricacies to the combat that I feel if the game was made now would be done better, and there are a few bugs and the game crashes at points, and the sound balancing is not fantastic whatsoever. But it is still a brilliant game. A game that I'm just so glad that I encountered when I was so young. I still treasure the CD of the game. The original CD that I got when I first bought it. I mean, the box, I've no idea what happened to the box. It probably got really damaged, or it got put away in the loft at one point and then disposed of. But the CD I treasure. I used that CD to originally Let's Play the game, and I'm just so happy that it's now available in a far easier format that anybody can enjoy the game with, because before it was so expensive to get a hold of it, but now that it's easy to access and easy to play, loads more people can continue to discover Albion for many years to come, and I hope many people do. And I hope it's such a far-flung hope, but maybe someday in the distant future, the dreams of Thalion Software of making that third game in the Amber series, it probably will never happen. The chances of it happening are exceptionally slim. But I hope that by me playing Albion here, and that me just talking about it now, and the whole experience of watching me go through this wonderful world that was created will make people look back at the other games that Thalion Software made. I mean, I'm certainly going to do so. I've played Amber Star very briefly, but it was about a little later than when I played Albion. I didn't know they were connected, so I didn't really get it back then. I mean, Whale's Voyage is obtuse enough with some of its control schemes, and Amber Star certainly has that control scheme from the time it was made. But now that I'm older and hopefully a little wiser in the way of video games, don't hold me to that though, maybe I might be able to understand it better and appreciate all of the things that not only the game Amber Star was and is, but also the things that led on from it, like Amber Moon and Albion here. Albion, just such a fun and enjoyable game, and I'm just so happy that I got to experience it. So I'm a little speechless actually, because it's just so fun and so great for me. I love Albion as a game. It's fantastic, and I encourage anybody who's, even people that have watched this Let's Play series, to play it yourself, because watching here will never replace the joy of playing it. You may even discover things that I haven't seen here. I mean, I've been pretty comprehensive, but I'm sure there are dialogue options that I've missed, and loot that I never found, and all sorts of little things that just add that little bit more depth to the world that I didn't uncover. And even if you don't find anything, it's just such an enjoyable game that if you like role-playing games, especially from the 90s, you'll love Albion, I think. I hope you will anyway. But there's only one way to find out, and that's for you to give it a chance, like I did all those years ago. And boy am I glad that I did. So that's Let's Replay Albion. The only question remains now is, what's next for the replay slot? And there are a few options. I looked back at the Let's Plays that I did a long time ago, and there are quite a few things that I could do, but only a few of them that I wanted to do right now. And one of them stood out almost immediately, a definite departure from the pattern that has developed in the Let's Replay series. I will not say exactly what it is right now, but hopefully it will be a pleasant surprise. I mean, there's only so much surprise you can have when it's going to be a game that I've already played before on my channel, but hopefully it's something that you won't necessarily expect. Or maybe you will expect it. Who can say, eh? Who can say? But for now, I think Tom and his companions deserve a rest, because there is no sequel to Albion, unfortunately. We'll never find out what happens to the world beyond this point. You just have to let your imagination take you there. Imagine the survivors of the Toronto building a community of their own and all the problems that emerge from that. I mean, imagine there will be. They won't want to abandon all of their technology, will they? Maybe some of them won't. Maybe Ned survived. Maybe the company will send out another ship to try and find out what happened. We'll never know exactly what might have been planned, if there even were any plans for a sequel to Albion, but as it stands, Albion is a brilliant game, even without the prospect of a sequel. And so, I'm Kikoskia, and that was Let's Replay Albion. And when we come back, folks, another Let's Play, another Let's Replay specifically, all together. But which one? You'll find out eventually. I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.